competitive gamers outlook, I think shooters are almost dead. Lack of depth and just generic mechanics are just killing them.
Yeah, and I mean, I know it's hard to go away from just the generic mechanics. Right click, aim down the sight, left click, fire your weapon, hold shift to sprint, hold control to crouch, press some other button to lay down or something. And a game that I find that I can always go back to and have a good time with is any Battlefield game, or in particular Battlefield Bad Company 2, because while, yeah, it's the same mechanics, the maps change over time. Like, buildings will collapse.
Yeah.
Players will play differently. Like, sometimes they'll abuse the tank to hell. Like, they'll shell your base from across the map. Sometimes they'll run into your base just straight on and just go for, the kill. Sometimes, you'll have 5 snipers on the enemy team. Sometimes you'll have 1 sniper on the enemy team. Sometimes you have people that will run in with shotguns, or sometimes you have people that will run in, sometimes there'll be 5 medics on the enemy team, so you have to, try to, play around that. And there's, a whole bunch of different loadouts and a bunch of different guns, although most of the guns are basically the same. It's just different,
I find in modern first-person shooters that's the problem. All the guns are the same. I mean, in Modern Warfare 2, I don't care what gun I'm using. I mean, I'll just use the gun that I think looks the coolest, really. They all are dead accurate. They all have the same rate of fire, it seems. They're all doing the same damage. People die in 2 or 3 bullets anyway. So, it really doesn't matter what gun you're using. I think that's what I mean. That's the problem. Games are slowly going away from the class-based shooter and more toward just the team deathmatch, upgradable weapons kind of thing. And another thing that I find goes with that is that as the shooting games slowly get easier and more appealing to the broader audience, the community of shooters is just getting... I don't even know. You are just so lucky that you have never played on Xbox Live. That's all I can say.
Yeah, I mean, there's there's a lot of Xbox Live or even PS3 sometimes.
Yeah, consoles, I don't know. I mean, I think the general community of gaming in general is getting a little bit less, I don't know, respectful. I mean, I remember playing Medal of Honor Allied Assault. Great game, by the way, still to this day. But I remember playing that game in ladders and leagues and stuff like that, and playing a match against a team, and you say to the guys, you're like, good luck, let's have a great game. You play each other, nice shot, guy shoots you in the face from across the map, you're like, good job, whatever, game's over, your team wins, you say, good game, guys. And it might sound a little bit corny, but I mean, it was a nice, it was just a good environment. It was like players who respected each other, they were good. Nowadays, you have players who aren't very good. They don't understand a lot of the mechanics of these games. They're just not very good, and at the same time, they're like twice as cocky, twice as violent. They're saying things that, as fun as it is to trash talk people. I mean, I don't need to hear that half the time, especially from somebody who, has just been playing shooters for like 2 months, and this guy's already trash talking me. As far as I'm concerned, a helicopter flying around the map, giving you 20 free kills, it's not skill, so I don't want to hear about it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly, like, on PC, I mean, you'll get people every once in a while, they'll be completely dicks, and...
Yeah, there's douchebags everywhere.
Even I'm a dick every once in a while, like, I'll go into Battlefield Bad Company, and I'll join a team, and we're getting, like, steamrolled, like, it'll be like, first base is gone, second base is gone, third base is gone, fourth base is gone, oh, we lost, like, in, like, 10 minutes. And, I get kind of pissed off because, we lost. So everyone's like, good game, and I'm like, fucking bad game, what are you talking about? Like, but I mean, that's just because it just annoys...
Well, everybody gets frustrated, but...
Yeah, and things like that, like, well, even a lot of other times, too, like, even on Starcraft and stuff, like, I don't know, it just annoys me when people say good game when it was completely one-sided and wasn't a good game at all. Like, it just annoys me because it's just like, it almost feels like they're trying to rub it in, like, haha, we won, good game, man. But like, even if they are being like,
well, most of the time most of the time I try to take it as if I lose and a guy says GG, I mean, you just kind of take it as if the guy may or may not have been a lot better than you, and he just says good game anyway. I mean, it was obviously not a good game for him. He just steamrolled you, but out of respect,
like,
I guess you just
well, for me, I mean, what good game means that it was a close game. Both sides were pretty even. Everyone tried their hardest. It was really close. It was an awesome game. A lot of crazy stuff happened, and one team just, took advantage of a couple of mistakes that the other team did
Yeah.
and pushed through. That's a good game to me. But when one team's getting completely like spawn killed for 20 minutes.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's just, I think that's just bad game
That's not a
mechanics.
good. That's not a good. Yeah, it's bad game mechanics. But when a couple of the guys are like, "Oh, good game," like it just seems like they're rubbing it
Yeah.
in, and a lot of other times too, like people like if they lose or something, and they're like first on the list, they like go like, "Oh, I win," like they just say
Yeah.
they win.
No, believe me, I played on Xbox Live for several years because I actually kind of deviated from PC gaming for a while. There was not a lot that I thought was interesting on the PC that I couldn't play on the console. So I just, grabbed a $300 Xbox, got Xbox Live, and I started playing there for a while. And I was a pretty competent player. I mean, once you get over the controller, honestly, it's the same mentality as when you're playing on the PC. You're just trying to, when you're playing a shooter, you're just trying to shoot people and not get shot. It's the same. But like with the original Xbox, I used to play Halo 2, and although the community was still kind of raw, it seems like it's just gone so downhill so fast, especially with like the release of the Xbox 360 and stuff. I mean, more and more people are able to play online, and I think it's really I don't really like it, honestly. I don't want to sound like an elitist computer nerd douchebag, but I'm glad that it stays on the consoles. I'm glad that there's a huge market for everybody to play on the consoles. I just dislike that PC gaming is suffering because the market seems to be so much better on the other side, which is
That's one problem. It's just like the consoles are just so mainstream now that everyone and their son has an Xbox or PS3 or even a Wii, but most of them have an Xbox or a PS3. And and they jump on a Call of Duty and think they're gonna go no scope someone across the map and do some sort of montage when they're a rank 15 sergeant with actually no first person shooter experience, and they're just really bad and they start trash talking or whatever, and it ruins the community, and it makes and it really discourages other people to try and put the better foot forward and do something half decent.
Yeah. I think on that note, I think that's also why I've gotten much more into RTS games and why I'm starting to think that they're the superior game at the moment. Simply because, I mean, Starcraft 2, I'll use that as the ultimate example. Brood War veterans are going to tell you that Starcraft 2 is a much easier, much more accessible game, which it is. There's a lot of new RTS mechanics that make the game flow just much easier to get into. But at the same time, RTS games will always have that huge skill cap that, where your good players are going to be good because they know how to micro, they know how to use each unit to its fullest, they know how to build up a base while they're doing things. And somebody can't just jump onto StarCraft 2 for the very first time like they could with Call of Duty and start wrecking people and trash talking, because they're not going to get anywhere. They're going to have to actually play, place in a league, battle their way through it, and they're going to have to learn the game.
Yeah, and exactly. It's just one of those things where you have to actually know what's going on.
Yeah,
Otherwise, you really can't do anything. Like, you can't just equip a noob tube and just run around shooting at where you see some gunfire coming out, right? Like, because, if you don't know the tech trees, if you don't know, okay, I should get this, resource or that resource, and I should build...
what timing you should be building things, how to react to the other player. I mean, these are all things you'll learn.
What unit counters what unit and this and that. Like, there's none of that in any shooter. Like, it's like, okay, M16 doesn't get countered by, P90 or something. You know what I mean? Like, fire the gun, and whoever has better aim or
sees each other first or has a better connection.
Yeah, or has a better connection or whatever, usually will win, right? So, well, I mean, that is the aspect of shooters, right? It should be based on whoever's faster and know.
But again, look back to games like Quake 3 even. Like, those games they had a huge skill gap. I mean, even I was bad at Quake, and I consider myself a good shooter player. Like I was pretty good at Counter-Strike. I was always competitive in that game, but like Quake, I just get destroyed. The skill gap is so huge in games like that with the wall bouncing and like rocket jumping and stuff. I mean, games back then were designed with that skill gap. Now we have games that are designed so that the top players can never really be that much better, other than understanding the gameplay mechanics better. Whereas with games like
top players, all they can really do is
know the maps better and
placement.
shoot.
Yeah, like placement where they should stand to get a better vantage point on this area, and a couple little nifty tricks here and there, like jumping on this thing and then jumping through a window or something. But they're never gonna be like completely face rolling because
I mean those were things you had to look for in other shooters. I mean you had to think about those things before, but there was just so much else. So I'm starting to think that RTS are the future of competitive gaming, simply because with the exception of MLG, there's not really much going on with shooters. I don't know. I just think that and RTS games just are always a challenge. You can't casually play an RTS game because you will lose,
Yeah.
So it's an ongoing challenge. You're always learning new things. Every game's different because no two players go with the same builds or with the same things, especially at high-level play. I mean, if you watch pro Starcraft stuff, it just blows your mind. So, I don't know. I think that the future of esports is going to lay with RTS games. Maybe I don't know. There's some.
Well, the only reason I semi disagree with that is just because of how popular Call of Duty
that is true.
And Halo too, right? Like Halo's basically the most popular, if not just as popular, as Call of Duty, right? So
I'll bring up also that I do think Halo is a fairly good game, simply because the way it's balanced is it's balanced around teams. So when you get to high-level play, now I know you've never played Halo before, but high-level play in Halo comes down to, if you run out in the open, you're going to die. People move in with their team. It's actually more tactical of a game, and people are going to try and kill me for this, but I find Halo is more tactical of a game online than most games that attempt to be tactical shooters, because honestly, it's your team has to place their shots all at once to try and down a guy, because people have so much health, right? So
yeah, and that's that's another thing. Like it gives that a little bit of a unique aspect to it's like focus fire. Like that's that's something you'd say in like an MMO or something. Focus fire down this like mob, but in this case it's like focus fire down like Billy Bob 3 over there. Like, or like it's like I got a sniper shot on Billy Bob 3. He's on blah 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 blah, and then all of a sudden like they just turn around and like shoot him or something, right? Like there's a little bit more tactics to it. Because
like what they do with Halo, if you've ever watched MLG, is they have all their areas of the map named, and see how it works is like it takes like 3 or 4 shots from a battle rifle to actually kill somebody, and normally you're playing a 4v4 team, so if everybody shoots a guy at once, he essentially just gets one-shotted. So the idea is that they'll call a guy, and everybody fires on him, and then tries to get the kill quick. So I think Halo is a pretty good game for esports, just in its design. It actually deserves to be an MLG game, unlike a lot of other games. So, I don't know, that's just my rant. I think Halo is probably one of the better console shooters, simply for that.
Yeah, I absolutely hate Halo, but I do agree that just because, like, see, that's another thing, too. Like, there's so much health, so if you miss, like, 3 shots, it's a huge deal. Like, but in, like, Call of Duty, it's like, well, it doesn't matter. You just fucking spray at them and you kill them anyway, right? Like, that's the thing. That's one of the defining factors in most competitive, things. It takes more than just one blow to take your opponent down, right? Like, that's the whole point of it. So, just like in like StarCraft or any other RTS, like, in most cases, you don't just win one battle, then just instantly win at that point, right? Like, usually it's a couple battles or, like, harassment.
And it's consistent. It's consistent
play.
Yeah,
consistent, right?
Hate to cut it so short, but we did just hit an hour. So thanks for anybody who tuned in. Don't forget to subscribe. If you enjoy our podcast, we are also looking for people to perhaps try out to actually be our third for upcoming episodes. We do need some extra people, and all input would be welcome. So